Hey everybody, this is Shane with the Trek Health 365 program. This week I want to talk about some basic guidelines for strength exercise. If you're not already doing strength exercise, you need to start right away to make sure that you get all the benefits from this great exercise form. So today I'm going to go into kind of what the basic recommendations are and how we get started with strength exercise if you're not doing it already. So really to start out talking about what is strength exercise versus other forms of exercise. So strength exercise is any training that's going to use some sort of a load to increase muscular contraction. So this could be weights, it could be our body weight, it could be resistance bands, it could be a lot of different things. But the goal is to increase muscular contraction when we're doing these exercises. A lot of times you'll also hear strength training referred to as resistance training. Those two terms are kind of used synonymously. And when we're doing our exercises, we're going to use a combination of sets, reps, different weights, and rest break to get the muscular response that we want. So before you start a strength training workout, you always want to make sure that you do a warm-up before you do strength exercise so you don't have any pulled muscles or anything like that. Then you're going to pick a group of exercises, maybe 8 to 10 is kind of the general recommendation. Could be more, could be less, depending on the goal of your training session and the total volume. And we want to make sure that we're doing something each week for all our major muscle groups. We don't want to just spot train. We don't want to just be doing arms or just legs or just core. We want to do some of everything. If you're just starting out, even just 1 to 2 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions per exercise is going to be enough to give you some benefit initially, and then we can always get more specific later. Again, if you're not currently doing strength training, starting to try to incorporate it 2 to 3 days per week is going to be a great start. And we always want to make sure that we take at least 48 hours rest between sessions that are working the same muscle groups. So if I'm doing upper body today, tomorrow maybe I'll do lower body or core, and I'm not going to do upper body at least for 48 hours after my current session today. And then if I'm going to do some stretching to enhance my flexibility or for recovery, I'm going to save those stretches for the end of my strength workout. So what are some of the benefits of strength training? Well, number one, the most obvious benefit is going to be an increase in muscular strength. We're going to get stronger. One of the other benefits is an increase in lean body mass. So I'm increasing my total amount of lean muscle tissue. I'm also going to see a decrease in fat mass typically when I start doing strength training for a variety of reasons. We're going to have an increase in bone density. We're going to increase our muscular endurance. We're going to enhance our resting metabolism, and we're also going to burn more calories both while we're active and at rest. So next I want to talk about a couple different training goals. So depending on how we arrange our sets, reps, rest breaks, and weight, we'll get a different outcome. Might be strength, might be increase in lean mass, might be muscular endurance. And again, it's going to depend on how we kind of arrange these things. So the first training goal I want to talk about is muscular strength. And muscular strength is going to be the ability of our muscles to perform at a maximal level for a short duration. So maybe I'm only lifting one really heavy thing one time. That's an example of muscular strength. Finding out what is my maximum bench press or deadlift or squat or something like that is going to be a measure of muscular strength. So we can train that specifically. To do that, we're going to perform anywhere between 2 to 6 sets per exercise, and those sets are going to have generally 6 or fewer repetitions with a very high weight, greater than 85% of our maximum. And then the rest break in between sets is going to be a fairly long rest break, 120 seconds or longer. So by using that combination, we're going to significantly increase muscular strength. We're teaching our body lift something heavy one or only a couple of times and then fully recover before you do it again. And that's a great way to really enhance true muscular strength. What most people are kind of after is really that increase in lean body mass or increase in muscular definition, and that comes when we train in a range that targets what we call hypertrophy. So hypertrophy is using resistance training to increase our muscular size or increase our lean muscle mass. And when we are training for hypertrophy, each exercise is going to have between 3 and 6 sets, between 6 and 12 repetitions. The load is going to be a little bit lighter than what we used when we were training more specifically for strength, between 67 and 85% of our maximum strength on that exercise. And the rest breaks are going to be a little bit shorter. So anywhere between 30 and 90 seconds. And studies have shown that using this combination, that's how we're really going to increase muscular size, increase hypertrophy the most. So if you're kind of looking for more of that improvement in body composition, that's a good range to train in with your strength exercises. And then the third training goal I want to talk about is muscular endurance. For all you cyclists or runners or triathletes, this is a really good range to train in because it's going to enhance your performance in that activity. So muscular endurance is kind of the opposite of muscular strength. It's teaching our bodies to perform at a submaximal level, so not a maximal, but a submaximal level for a longer duration. So to do that, we're not going to do as many sets. 2 to 3 sets is generally enough, but a higher number of repetitions per set, so more than 12 repetitions. But an exercise might go up to as many as 25 repetitions or more, depending on what it is that we're targeting. And the resistance that we use when we're training for muscular endurance is going to be much lighter, less than 67% of our maximum strength, with very short rest breaks, less than 30 seconds rest between sets. So when we use that combination, we're teaching our bodies lift something fairly light, but lift it a whole bunch of times to increase muscular endurance. So sometimes people wonder, what type of equipment should I use? Do I have to have access to a full gym? Well, not necessarily. We can use things like weight machines, but we can also use free weights, whether it be barbells or dumbbells or resistance bands or kettlebells or a suspension trainer like a TRX, or medicine balls, benches, stability balls, all sorts of different stuff besides just machines in a gym. So a lot of those things you can buy and have at home to be able to do strength exercise really well. So lastly, I just want to wrap up with some tips to make sure that you have a successful strength workout. So as I said at the beginning, before you start doing strength exercises, make sure you're doing some sort of a warm-up. So this could be a dynamic warm-up using different body movements, or it could be just some light cardio, walking, jogging, biking, rowing, that type of thing. We're going to take our static stretches, save those for the end to increase flexibility, but not doing those at the beginning. We just want to be doing those warm-up exercises unless you've been instructed otherwise by a physical therapist or doctor to be doing those stretches at the beginning. So save those static stretches for the end of that workout. Avoid working the same muscle groups 2 days in a row. So remember that 48-hour rule. Take 48 hours rest between workouts working the same muscle groups. If you're just starting out, if you have access to machines in a gym, starting more with those is going to be a good way to go. If you don't have access to machines, then starting with exercises that are more basic and working towards more advanced exercises as you progress along. Keep in mind that proper exercise form is always more important than lifting heavier weights. So once you have that form really dialed in, then you can start increasing some of that resistance on those exercises. But really make sure that you've got your form down. Just make sure that you guys are including strength exercise every week. No matter what your goal is, strength training is going to be a really important way to reach that goal, and it's going to be a very important part of your exercise plan. So make sure that that's included. Make sure you're doing those prescribed workouts that have been set up for you that have strength exercises in them. As we talked about, there's all kinds of benefits from doing this type of exercise. And all too often we see people who do increased levels of other types of exercises, primarily cardio, instead of doing strength. And that's a big mistake. So if you're not already doing strength exercises, start including these a couple days a week to make sure that you reap all of those great benefits.